get to it. You're with me. There's stuff here. I was with Adam, and Adam did have an experience back here in this room. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We just went down from 200 to 50s. It's actually dropping instead of rising. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but there's definitely something that's affecting the microwave energy right here in this room. And it happened as soon as that laser grid turned on. Recently, the St. Albans Paranormal Discussion Group made arrangements to do a group investigation at the Nitro War Museum in Nitro, West Virginia. We were asked to be a part of a group investigation and bring along some gear that the collective uses. This building consists of a collection of war memorabilia donated by the town residents. The town of Nitro owes its existence to World War I. On October 6th, 1917, a congressional emergency session passed the Deficiency Appropriation Act, which gave authority to create several huge explosive plants in the U.S. far away from the coastlines. As a result, on December 23, 1917, ground was broken at the site of what today is Nitro City Park. This area would be filled in no time with over 110,000 workers who would build a massive explosive plant capable of producing 500,000 pounds of gunpowder per day. The town was literally created by the U.S. Defense Department, and the name Nitro adopted by the Ordnance Department. Following the war, the town was sold, and the rest, as they say, is history. But some history seems to have refused to stay in the past, and residents of the area have reported ghostly happenings for a long time. The War Museum is only a small part of the legends that apparently are haunting this small town. Years ago, I was lucky enough to investigate another nearby property with one of my older teams. Since then, I have witnessed and heard many strange tales in this same area. Tonight, we go inside the Nitro War Museum to see if we can peel back the layers of time and reveal some of those more wild and weird encounters. Let's grab some stuff and get to it. You're with me? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're gonna go. We got people going around right now getting baselines, and we're just trying to get the fastest baseline probably in the history of paranormal investigations at this point. The intention on our part was not so much an investigation as it was just to familiarize the individuals who came to this with how we collect data. Basically, a workshop model. We've got RF against this wall, so anything over here is got to be just counted pretty much. Okay, so we're going to basically get the lights turned off, go around and take a look at everything and see what's going on. There were several investigation groups represented at this event, and it was great seeing everyone work together to show those who were just curious some of the techniques that are employed in these types of investigations. So let's just count it at 0.8 and be done with it. Anything above that we'll look at as possibly anomalous. All right, we're going to start asking some questions, and basically it's going to go something like this. Whoever's here with us, if this was your car, if this was your area, or if you just particularly like to be here, understand that we mean you absolutely no harm. We're here only to validate your existence. If you still have a message for anyone, you have opportunity to tell everyone. We have multiple pieces of equipment here that can be used to let you do that, and we open the floor to you. I am simply going to ask questions, and you may answer those. You may touch any of these devices that you see before you. Can you tell us your name? this point, we need to address what we just saw. That looks like an orb, but what it is dust being lit by the infrared beam of the full spectrum camera. The beam is lighting up the dust particles just like a bright flash would with a standard camera. It's important to note your location. If there are air handlers going on and you're in a dusty area, you're probably going to see orbs.
Is this your car?
Now, this voice was captured not only on the audio from the camera, but on the recorder at my foot here. Now, can we say that's anomalous? No. Unfortunately, we cannot. We know that there was no one in the room with us, and we were very quiet in our section. But the building was unsecure, and there were teams all over the place. As for this EVP, we're going to have to rule that as uncertain. There is another very strange EVP that follows that, however, and I'm going to boost it up so you can hear it. Now, I have no idea what that is, and without the RT EVP, I don't know that we could have recorded that. It's just at such a volume that I don't think anything else would have picked that up.
Can you see us? Is this here? I'm starting to get a spike over here. In the 700 and... Look at that. 750, 760.
Now, strangely enough, and I have no idea why, but our spectrum analyzer started reading a small spike at this exact point. It would eventually just settle back down. It's important to remember there are other groups throughout the building at this point doing their own independent investigations, and we would eventually share that data and try to figure out if there were any other things that were discovered. But it is very interesting that the spectrum analyzer did record that spike at the 780 megahertz range when the question was asked.
Yeah, was this a company vehicle? It's a very cool car. It's a cool vehicle.
At this point, our Geiger counter started clicking off a little faster than normal, and I had to check that out. Remember, we've been picking up seemingly anomalous radiation readings while we're investigating various phenomena. These levels are very low and very safe, but they do make us question
Radiation
why at that particular time.
29 CPMs.
It's also important to know that during the baseline sweep, we did record a 30 to 33 spike in this room.
Just to make sure.
Dropping.
Okay.
Okay. So we had ionizing radiation go up, but non-ionizing radiation staying the same. This hasn't gone above 1, right? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense why we'd have that. Now it's back down 15.
Now, ionizing radiation and non-ionizing radiation are two separate things, and they should not register with each other at all. Typically, when doing an investigation, you're looking for non-ionizing radiation, electromagnetic force, EMF. But in this case, we were picking up ionizing radiation, beta or gamma, which is a little more concerning. But again, it's in low levels, so there's nothing really to worry about. The only reason I mentioned this is because how many times have we gotten validation for some of our questions? We just weren't using the right instrument to capture it. That is what we try to do. That's why we have all these different types of equipment, and that's why we employ them in the field. We can rule out one single reading from one particular piece of equipment. But if we can capture data at the same time from multiple pieces of equipment, that's a little harder to debunk. Following our time with the car, we decided to move out into the main room and conduct a few EVP sessions out there.
If you understand that, feel free to come over and touch any of these and let us know.
Now, they have seen shadow figures in this building.
Is there anyone here
So Joe
who would like
decided
to
to
speak?
deploy our laser grid, which seemed to have a very unexpected
If
result.
there's anyone here who would like to speak now, simply come over and speak into that device. I just had a microwave drop. It's dropping down to 59. Okay, that's impressive. We just went down from 200 to 50s. It's actually dropping instead of rising.
So what's that mean on?
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, but there's definitely something that's affecting the microwave energy right here in this room. And it happened as soon as that laser grid turned on. Turn the laser grid off, please. Turn the grid back on. Can you see this red light? Speak into this device. I'm actually going to set this down. I'm going to go to a different range too. Let's go over here. All right. How are we looking?
It's going up right over here.
It is going up over here.
Now, what we didn't know at the time is we were standing next to a display case in which there were some very disturbing artifacts from a concentration camp. There were lampshades that were made from human skin.
Near the mortar, the bright red light. That's it, yes.
Unfortunately, that was all that we got. Next, we moved over to some mannequin displays where some uncomfortable feelings have been noted. It's good to have an Air Force veteran in such circumstances.
Went to basic training while there was an active war. We got 2 stars. 2 stars on a service ribbon. Overseas ribbon. Air Force accommodation, Air Force
1.6.
achievement.
We were getting responses, 1.6
Oh, yeah.
milligauss.
Dude, your hat's out of rigs too. I don't know what they did to you, man. I'll straighten you up before I leave.
Oh, it had a high spike, a really high spike.
Yeah, he doesn't like a thing in his hat. He's out of rig.
Joe, why would he be attached to this particular uniform? That is a very good question.
Well, it wouldn't be that he was buried in it.
As Joe fixed the mannequin's hat, we started to get spikes on our equipment.
5.7.
Very significant spikes. Joe's idea seemed to be that whoever or whatever was watching over this particular mannequin noticed that it was a little off.
You're not supposed to be a little piper.
And our readings
2.7.
seemed to confirm that. I did record a very high spike on the EMF meter as Joe made that observation out loud. It was almost like he was confirming something. Now, does that mean that we made some kind of contact? Probably not, but can we rule it out? Nope, we can't. It's just the data. No other pieces of equipment there seemed to respond, and there were no EVPs recorded. So, could it have just been a coincidence? That's for you to decide.
Oh, you don't like it? Yeah.
All in all, it was a great evening. And given the fact that there were so many people in the building, we still had some remarkable results.
So if anything sits in that chair, we'd be able to tell if it gave off a heat
So
signature.
we definitely would not be opposed to going back in for a full investigation.
Okay, so everything is pretty much wrapped up at this point. I had a lot of people get it to go out there and experience some stuff. And some people did have experiences. If anybody would like to speak about those experiences, please feel free. We did actually have an experience over near the mannequin over here in the corner, the Air Force mannequin, appropriately enough. And Joe apparently had a conversation with someone over there, and it was kind of validated. We got it on the tri-field. We kept getting tri-field spikes. Every time something would happen, we had a baseline, and then it would go up, and we saw it. We got a very significant rise as soon as he did that, and I got to call that for what it is. I mean, that was pretty impressive to see. I was with Adam, and Adam did have an experience back here in this room near the uniform rack that's back there. He did record a 7 milligauss rise. The baseline in that room was what? It was, it was like low. It wasn't even 1. So he actually hit 7 milligauss. That's pretty significant. Tell him what happened during that 7.8.
No, I was coming up towards the uniform rack, and I had the meter in my hand, and I was looking at it. It was dark, and my hand was pulled towards the rack. I was pulled a little bit off balance, and during that time, the meter went up to 7.8 milligauss.
And we also talked to what we feel like was a soldier back there, and they weren't all that particularly nice
little gruff,
to-
but you'd
towards
expect
the,
that from
towards the
someone.
end.
Not.
You know, shut up, get out.
It was either a Peter or a Pete we picked up. I think Teresa said Peter or Pete.
Yeah, well, that was a completely different Estes method. We had Cindy be our guinea pig for that
Yeah.
one. And everything that we asked, she answered directly. It was, I've never seen that happen in an Estes method.
And there's the volume on the thing was the same when I had it on. Unless she's got supersonic hearing, there was no way she was hearing any of the questions that were being asked.
And after we got the get out, we got out.
Yeah, we were done. Yeah,
So the
they were.
theory behind the Estes session is basically to use a human as a bioreceptor.
In a double-blind test.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So it kind of puts it into a more of a serious parapsychological study versus just going out there and doing an EVP session where, you know, you're subjected to hear whatever you want. Is this your car? In this case, it kind of adds a little bit of an X factor to it, doesn't it? So it makes it a little more relevant.
I was also, when I had these headphones on, I was envisioned.
Okay, yeah.
I was seeing faces.
Yes,
I
okay.
couldn't see like a specific feature. I mean, I could see a face. I couldn't say it was like, you know, her, you know, I couldn't see that, but it was just like, it was like kind of coming at me.
That is significant. Any kind of faces, flashes, weird feelings, all that. You are your best detectors when it comes to anything paranormal. You can literally feel it. I mean, how many of you guys feel that like cold chill sometimes when you go into a room and your hair stands up?
When I went back there, big
Did you get it
time.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes that can be explained away. Sometimes it can be like high energy in an area, but other times there's nothing there, and so it shouldn't be happening. But you're picking up on something there. Did you get to experience anything this time?
I did get a little lightheaded
Okay.
in front of that counter.
Okay, that's important.
Very lightheaded. And it was
Teresa got a
there
little
and it
dizzy
was
over there.
gone.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
It's very important to note any strange feelings or emotions you may encounter in the field while recording. Sometimes those are the validations that someone else may need.
so. I'm impressed. I mean, I think, like I said, I think the building has a legitimate anomalous claim, and I would definitely like to do a full investigation here at some point. We can't really say one way or the other, but we know it was, like I said, it's anomalous. There's a lot of history here, and it's really cool to help, you know, kind of validate some of that stuff and be a part of that.
Yeah.
What in the world is going on here?
My guess is that it's got a battery tender on it, and I think that it's grounded to the body.
It's hitting 100. It's hitting 164.
Yeah, it's going nuts.
So don't get near the car.
Don't touch the car, anybody.